Yeah. Hello everyone. Today I'm recording a podcast with Leo finally after trying to catch him during the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So Leo, I think I've known you since 2017 when I first brought my first group of students here, but we did not really communicate much back then.
All, no.
I still just recognized your face the moment when we arrived. So remember 2017, you were just a youngster.
I was quite literally a child.
Was a student or a teacher? Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, just could you introduce yourself and tell us about what you do?
Sure. My name's Leo Williams. I'm a teacher, currently teaching in Ruskin Summer School for CES, that's Centre of English Studies. We're currently based in Oxford, however, there are at least 5 other locations within the UK. I believe there's one in Canada as well.
Yeah, so 2 in Canada,
yeah,
Toronto, Vancouver. I saw it on my card actually, here.
Very cool.
Toronto and Vancouver.
So there we go, we're expanding.
And 2 in Ireland,
Cork
and Dublin.
There we go, there we
expanding,
go.
Yeah.
Way more than I thought, so at least 9 therefore, more or less. From that.
Cork has just been opened, I believe, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah, it was recent. But I'm currently teaching. I have been teaching now students from the ages, probably the youngest 12 to I'd say 17 here in this summer school for about 7 weeks now. I usually teach in another school that's in Oxford, also CES.
Language school.
The language school.
In Wheatley.
Exactly, exactly. It's for the adults. And yeah, at the moment I'm just providing English classes that are practical in its use, so you can take the information and use it outside of class as soon as possible. That's pretty much the theme of what I try to
My students have actually enjoyed your classes because I've been asking who are the teachers that have mostly enjoyed and what they liked mostly about you. And they told me that Leo's lessons are very much focused on speaking. So there is a lot of speaking involved, obviously the students enjoy that a lot rather than just getting the constant feedback on the part of the teacher. Just some basic facts about yourself, where you were born and your, I don't know, biographical information.
No problem at all. So I don't look typically British. That's because my mum is Japanese. I was born in Japan, in the south, in an area called Hyuga. It's a city in Miyazaki Prefecture.
Do you speak Japanese?
I do speak Japanese.
Really?
Yeah,
fluently?
Yeah. Not fluently, but
you could?
I could if I wanted to. My mum's Japanese, so the only language we speak is, well, her mother tongue. It used to be my mother tongue, however, years of just speaking English and not being around Japanese people has definitely weakened my capacity to speak it. However, I'm still happy to have conversations, no problem. There are a lot of Japanese students, for example, who have had communication problems here, and I've always been able to help with the translation when needed. And yeah, what can I tell you about? I moved to the UK when I was 10. I've been here there for about 15 years of my life now. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
So 10 plus 15, 25?
25 now, yeah, I'm quite old. When you first met me, actually, I was, if it was 2017, I would have been 16. I would have been 16.
Are you
actually,
really?
yeah.
You already started teaching?
Yeah, so I was 16, I wasn't teaching at the time. I was doing yellow shirt activities, the same
really?
with the 2 you interviewed before, Ollie and Evie.
Seriously?
Yeah,
I
so I only got into teaching last year, February, I believe. Yeah, so only recently, but it's been really fun.
And your education, where did you receive your education?
Well,
university?
Secondary school, I went to here in Oxford. I finished in 2019, and then I went to university, to Cardiff University.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've been to Cardiff.
It's a nice area, I like it a lot.
Very nice, yes.
Yeah, they're big on rugby, which is awesome because when I was younger, I was a huge fan of rugby.
Is it true that when you are in Wales, it's mandatory to take Welsh classes? Or at university level, it's not mandatory?
In my university, that was not a mandatory thing. You were not obliged to go and speak Welsh.
But in secondary schools, it is?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's, for example, in England, to be honest, it's most of the UK as well, but in England specifically, there's always a French class, and people have always learned a little bit of French, but they never have learned any actual French. They always say, oh, I know a little bit of French. I believe it's the same thing in Wales. It's you study in Wales, it's like, oh, I know a little bit of Welsh, but I don't know the full language. I've met a lot of people who do know the language, You have to go to the north of the country more in order to see those
And
kind of
it's a beautiful
people.
language, right?
It is beautiful.
They say elfish language.
It's quite elfish.
Tolkien took his, elfish language from that Welsh language, as far as I know.
I believe him. I mean, it sounds exactly
Celtic,
like it,
yeah.
for sure. Yeah, it's got a Celtic kind of energy to it, absolutely.
So you have partly answered my second question, but still maybe as a more holistic answer to how would you describe this particular program that my students and the other international students are taking for someone who has never experienced this before? What is this program about?
Well, the
2,
program
3 or 4, some students even take 4 weeks here with CS or similar schools.
The course that we're teaching them is often 2 weeks. I have definitely had students who have been here for at least 3 or 4 weeks as well. However, mainly the students are here for about 2 weeks. And what are they doing? They're essentially doing, like I said, practical English classes just to help them have daily usage of English. In my class, for example, I have 3 specific rules that I need them to follow. The most important one, which I'll go over, is I always ask my students, do you speak this language? And I know for a fact they don't speak that language. Do you speak this language? And I know for a fact they don't speak that language. And I go, okay, what language do you have in common? And it's always English. So, like you said earlier, a lot of what I do is speaking because there's not a lot of information you can retain via listening, writing. In that format, it's not very useful for 2 weeks. However, what is useful in 2 weeks is that you give someone some spoken information that they can use outside of a class. So that's what I pretty much aim to strive for is, can you use this the second after you leave this class outside in the public, no problem. So I give classes, for example, like about mode of transports, directions, sports, anything that is easy for other people to talk about and also for other people to get questions out of people from. So for example, with directions, I've loved teaching directional classes because it's allowed people to basically have the ability to, in case they get lost, be like, I'm sorry, I'm lost, can I get some help? And they'll understand exactly how people explain to them where they have to go. Exactly, it's essentially functional language. There's no point trying to teach someone in 1 week or 2 weeks, anything that's not going to be used immediately, otherwise it's not going to be remembered. So that's what I strive for specifically in my classes.
Thank you. I keep looking at the time because Leo's next class is starting in 5 minutes, so we need to be ready before that.
No worries.
Because teacher can't be late for class.
Can't be late.
Okay, I'll skip the next question. What differences do you notice among students from different nationalities?
The differences primarily. Well, I'll give you some of my highlights that I've noticed. Let's see.
So mostly I know that most popular nationalities that come here are the Polish, the Spanish, the Italians,
that's right.
Japanese perhaps,
yeah, quite
Turkish,
a lot of Japanese
and Russians.
Yeah, that's primarily.
So I think my viewers, they mostly are from Russia. They might be interested in what ways Russians are different from Europeans or Turkish.
That's a great question. I'd say, for example,
couple examples perhaps.
I'd say, for example, the directness of people is very different when it comes to nationalities. What do I mean by that? Let's say I go to a cafe in the UK. Customarily, you're supposed to say, I'd like a coffee, please. You use that grammar item, I would like, or can I have a coffee, please? And that's a very normal thing to ask in English. However, in other languages, it's not so indirect. It's quite straight up, like a coffee, please, is perfectly fine in a lot of countries. Or just a coffee. Or a coffee, exactly. I found out that in Turkey, Italy, and Spain, we've seen exactly this, quite direct people who are able to just get their point across without having to say too many words. I'd say the same thing, actually, arguably, for Russians. I feel like Russians are very direct people. Once they know what they want, they just ask you. They don't say it in a manner of, it's not, but I feel like the English take it as a rude concept that you're being direct. I don't think it's rude at all. I think English people have a problem with directness because we've grown up to be so indirect.
So modern Britain being so international these days, are the people used to such abnormalities or such directness these days?
I'd
or
say
do they still feel like awkward or kind of offended a bit?
Well, that's interesting you say about the multiculturalism, internationalism that you see in the UK, because you're absolutely right. Everywhere you go, there are completely different kinds of people, but we have all one thing in common, is that we typically refer to ourselves as British in one way or another. And yeah, I think with that Britishness, there's always a little bit of indirectness that comes with it. So yeah, I feel like a majority of people don't have a problem if you're direct, but they can't do it themselves. That's how I describe it. So people are comfortable if you're direct with them. However, people are not so comfortable being direct themselves as an English person.
Yeah.
At least for me, I'm definitely not comfortable being direct to people when
One thing that we should probably teach about social cultural competence, that's how we call it, teachers, right, is directness, probably, the level of directness. And my last bit, I ask you this or that, you choose and give a quick explanation.
No worries,
and we'll be done with this. Okay, books or videos?
Excellent question. I've always been a visual learner. However, that doesn't mean I necessarily agree with just learning with video. I'd say if I was older, I'm assuming older teachers have also probably mentioned this, but reading is the most traditional method of learning, right? That's what we know the best. And I don't disagree with it. And I do agree that to a certain point, videos aren't very helpful because you can just get zombied into them. What do I mean? I mean as in you can just lose focus and just like not really be there even though you're watching the video. It's the same with a book. So I feel like even though these two mediums, they sound different, actually, you still have problems that are similar with both of them. Like you can still just zone out and just like not be focused at any point in the reading or the video that you're in.
Books are still more effective.
I would say books are still effective, but more effective. I'd say they're both equal in terms of effectiveness, because the thing is, it depends on who you are. For example, like I said, I'm a visual learner. I'm sure there are people who are very literate in the way that they think. I'm not sure if, would you say, for example, you're a visual learner or you're more easy to learn?
I'm also visual. Yeah.
I feel like it's easier for me to understand it because the way I grew up having difficulties learning English, actually. When I first moved here when I was 10, I could barely really form sentences. It was my second language when I first came. So visual learning has always been what's helpful to me. However, I understand that other people are wicked with books, and that's no problem at all if that's the way you want to learn. It's just not for me personally. So my personal opinion is visual videos are better, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm sure there are other people who believe that reading is just as good.
All right, thank you. And two last questions. Historical sites or modern attractions?
Easily for me, historical sites. If you see me on any holiday...
So a typical teacher.
Yeah, well, yeah, basically. If you see me walking around in any foreign country, it's because I'm probably going to like their church or something, you know, pretty old, basically. Anything that's just a monument. Have you visited
many countries?
I've visited a couple, I'd say. Comfortably, I can say I visited a couple. I was in Spain this year, the entire year. I was living in a place called Murcia. It's next to, well, not next to, but it's close to Alicante.
You said it with a Spanish accent.
Yeah,
do you speak Spanish?
I do speak Spanish.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I did it for university, so I'm pretty comfortable.
That's why I heard like very Spanish accent,
the
way you pronounce it. And my very last question, city break or beach holiday?
Wow, what a question. You know, I've actually enjoyed these questions a lot. I'd have to say, I'm a big fan of both, to be honest, but if I was to really relax, see, it depends on what I'm up to. If I'm really trying to relax and not talk to people, obviously I'm going to choose a beach holiday. However, if I'm trying to feel like alive and, you know, feeling social, I'd say the city life as well sounds pretty nice. I'll say for now, at the moment, the way I feel, I would choose beach because I'm looking for a nice holiday where I don't have to talk to anyone after spending weeks talking to all the students.
I can imagine.
Obviously.
All right, Leah, that's it.
Don't
be late for your class.